Hi, I'm Ishani Nigam, and I'm passionate about creating content that educates and inspires the growth minded youth who are hungry to achieve their goals. And on this YouTube channel, I do exactly the same. I share video podcasts of my first step ever. You can follow this podcast on Spotify, Google, or Apple if you love listening to podcasts, or else you can subscribe this channel where you can see the entire podcast. So, what are you waiting for? Let's get started. This is my first step ever, and we have tuned into another exciting episode. And in every episode, we understand a person, his or her journey. And today, we have the master of data, who is, I would like to say, queen of data from the land of Australia. Please join me in welcoming Bhavika Unnadkat, all the way from Momentum Energy. Hi, Bhavika, how are you doing?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
I'm doing good. And I just like to introduce Bhavika to all the listeners today. She is the head of data analytics and governance at Momentum Energy. You're also a board member and a mentor. So I see there's a pattern that you originally come from India and you have made your own mark in a new country, in a new land, and you're doing so great. You are one of the industry leaders of your industry, and you're also helping the upcoming talent in your field. So Bhavika believes that data can be used to make the world a better place, and for sure it can be. And she's an information management professional with 15 years of experience in complex information environments, spanning the full spectrum of structured data to unstructured information. Now, that is heavy for me, but I think students or young people who are listening to us, who are interested in this field or who know a bit about data, they might learn a lot from your journey. And if you are really interested to know more, you can definitely reach out to her. But today we are going to know a little more about how was her journey and how did she become the person who she is today. She's an eloquent and influential communicator, and she knows a lot about, she has in-depth knowledge of multiple field like metadata, data warehousing, data governance, data quality, and a lot more. But in her free time, she likes to read, travel, and likes to teach her young kids. I see that mentoring quality, the fun and the love for teaching comes from within, and you do not leave even one chance of teaching other people that what you have learned. That's a very great quality. So again, once again, I would like to welcome you, Bhavika. And now that we have set a context that who you are, what have you done throughout your life, I would like to take our listeners back in the time when you were in India and you had a very successful career back then as well. And you thought of coming to this country. So let me start by asking, why did you choose to move to a different country, specifically to Australia? And did you have to make any major changes in your life while you took this decision?
Thank you, Ishani. In India, I was a very pampered kid. And, I was always been taken care of, look after. And I made a decision when I was as young as 11 that I want to be an IT professional. So, and I had to fight against the odd, as in, no one in my family had done engineering. And I was the one and a female who was really keen on doing engineering. So that's where all the fun started. So I had to fight the norms over and over again to get where I am. So it was quite of a fun journey. At the same time, because of that, I became so rebellious. And at the same time, I'm very passionate about things that I love and I get involved in. So while I finished my engineering back home, started to work as a developer, as we all start our journey when you are in IT. But then still I was being kept under the shell. Everything was being looked after. I wasn't getting to a point where I can have my own identity, which was very, very important for me, because I'm grown up in a very traditional family, where we have lots of siblings and a very big family, forefathers in the business and all. And for me, it was very important to create my own identity. So after I worked quite a bit in India, I thought, this is where I'm not going to get what I really want. That's where I started to look out for options. And it was just, we were sitting there and I'm like, I need to study more. I need to get some more exposure and I want to work more with the customers rather than just sit behind and code. And that's where I started to look for different options. And Australia seemed to offer the course that I was keen on. And it was fitting, right, everything in the box. And that's where I decided that I'll come and study here. And since then, I've been here.
Quite a different story that I've heard coming from India, because I think engineering, being in medical field, being in a management field is something that every parent, every household in India, they really push their children, or maybe kind of guide them, help them, that you must take one of these fields. So that was a very unique story that I hear coming from India. Maybe because what I can pick up is that you had your own family business, probably because of that reason, and parents would have wanted you to continue with family business. So I see that there were a lot of factors in your life that made you think in a certain way that you want your own identity. And most of us at this age, whoever is listening to us, or whichever stage they are, there are circumstances in a way that, either we agree with them or we do not agree with them. And when we don't agree with them, we have this, you know, insane feeling of, I want to get out of this life. I don't like what's happening right now. And this is why we are here. We're here to know your story, what you did in that situation, how things turned in your favor, because I'm sure you must have worked towards it. The standing that you have in your life right now, I believe I've heard you in one of the workshops, saying, and I could see the love that you have for the work that you do. As an international student, what challenges did you face during the time, and how did you tackle them?
There were lots of challenges going back in time. I had to go through lots of thicks and thorns, because first of all, there was a huge cultural shock for me because, there are lots of different cultural norms that you come across. When I initially, everything was quite different. Come from city called as Mumbai, which is so busy and full of people wherever, whatever time you go. And when I came here, everything was like, to the time, 5 o'clock, everything is shut, and didn't have that many friends back then. There was lots of slang that I had to understand. That was, a complete cultural shock. And back home, I went to an engineering college where, things were super strict, like you have to be there, you have to attend, and things like that. And I still remember the very first day I was in the university, there was a guy sitting right in front of the professor and having a pizza. And I'm like, this is something that I never experienced before, people coming and going, and back home we were like so much disciplined and structured, and you can't do this, and we had so much of rules and everything. Over here it was, everything was like you're free to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do. So that was a huge cultural difference that I could straight away pick it up. I was homesick as well for a while until I got to know a lot of people, and until I started to work, I was really homesick. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Where I am? I have to take care of everything around me at the same time, continue the study. It was very difficult time with that aspect. Last, it was like keeping up with everything. Like you're having to learn, you're having to take care of yourself, and at the same time you have to manage your own finances. Like it was everything was challenging. At the same time it was fun because you were learning so many new things, you were learning a complete new aspect of life. And after I started working, I started to make some friends, things got a little bit easier, but everything was a task, like finding a house to live in, applying for the rental. There were endless challenges.
I
But
can definitely resonate with those challenges, I can say. And just want to ask you one specific question. Like, in the entire time, like while you were international student, and as you mentioned, you had multiple challenges. What was that one thing in your mind, like the kind of mindset that you had? What kept you going in those times where you felt, alone, you felt lonely, you felt that where have I come? What was that kept you going?
the one thing that kept me going was my passion and my goal, that I want to establish myself over here. I want to create my own self identity. was the one thing that kept me going. And I had made a promise to myself and my parents before I came here, because I had to convince them that, I'll be fine living in another country. And, they were taking a big risk and things like that. I had convinced them, and I had made a promise when I left them, was whatever happens, I am going to give my 100%, try my best, and never give up. So those are the things that I used to repeat myself. And I still remember back then, I in my room I had put on a paper, that this is what I'm here to do and this is what I'm gonna do. So every time I used to go down, as in, feel sad, I used to look at that this is the promise that I made, and this is the goal that I'm here to achieve. So no matter what I go through, I have to go through to get where I want to do. And so that's where I was trying to keep myself motivated. It wasn't easy. And I know a lot of students who are going through that phase must be thinking, it's easy said than done. I've been through that. I've been to 50 different applications to get a house to live in. And so, yeah, at that time, because a lot of students were being attacked as well back in 2009, if you remember,
Yes.
we had that bad phase. So in that, we were fighting through things. I was looking for job to get some experience. It was too much going on. But the one thing that kept me going was my goal and my passion, that I really want to create my self identity. And this is the real world challenge. Back home I was being taken care of. Here is something, whatever I do, it's of my own. If I succeed, it's my own. If I fail, then it's all on my own. So that's what kept me going.
Interesting. I think it was very essential for me to ask this question because people who are listening to us, whenever we listen to someone's story, we listen to, their phases one by one, but and what happened in their external environment, where did they reach after this stage? They had challenges, but they had to surpass, but how did they do it? What is the major challenge, because whatever happens in a personal life, it's all about mindset. So what you went through, how you stood through those challenges, is how you had your mindset back then. And by sharing that today with our listeners, I'm sure they have really gained lot out of it, because if they are in a situation, stuck in a situation right now, and if they feel that they feel I don't know where I am, it's probably because you might have not started out with a goal in mind, or maybe you don't know where you want to reach. So it's all okay if you're in that situation. It only means that you take a step back, you sit and you think where you want to reach. Writing down is a very good practice. That was another great tip that you mentioned from your story over there, that you used to write down. So when in a day you feel that things have not gone according to what you wanted, and you feel, is it even worth it, that is when you go back to your goals and you ask yourself, is it worth it? And I think your answer would be yes, because that's why you set it out for the entire journey. So that was amazing that you could tell us that what really made you, go far. So moving on. So now that you're in this amazing field of data analytics, data science, how did you develop the confidence of pursuing your dreams in a foreign land? And what helped you find the firm ground in the various jobs that you have done in the sector since then?
When I started my journey, I wasn't aware of this data, if I can put it that way, that I always had passion for numbers. I enjoy maths, so that I loved. And when I started as an intern over here. That's where one of my managers introduced me. He said, "Oh, we have hired you as an intern to do some IT tasks. Would you be interested in this one?" And I'm like, I was a person, if something new comes up, yes, I want to learn, I want to try. So that's where I was introduced to it. So I liked it so much that I used to spend hours, and I self taught myself at that time the tools and things, rather than having to wait for him to come and teach me. So I still remember I was only allowed to work for 2 days, 20 hours. And so in that time, I took everything back home. I Googled, I saw lots of YouTube videos, and I self taught myself. And every time I was there, I was trying to do something new. So I was really nurturing my passion, and I was continuously learning. even now, like I go to different learning courses, I try to learn, explore myself, so that when I am teaching or I am talking about it, I know the whole background. So that's very important, that you continuously learn. And if you love something, you won't feel like a burden, I have to sit through another course. You feel like, okay, this is something interesting, I would like to know more myself. And lastly, I would say, give 100% of your commitment in whatever you do. That's where you get your confidence that you have given your best no matter what. And you continue your journey from there, so that you don't feel like you haven't done what you promised yourself or what you really want to do, and then just take it from there. So
Actually, what is very interesting, I was really, really interested to have you on the podcast because usually we hear a lot of stories, people coming from a different country, trying to, settle into a different country, and they just don't know what they're doing, they are not satisfied. And probably that's why I wanted to have you, because you had certain goals and you have made it and you're still on your journey. So it's very good to understand from perspective and from point of view of such people, that how did they make it, why are they satisfied, what are they doing differently. So I can see that you had a goal in your mind set even before coming. You had your own reasons that why you wanted to do that, as you mentioned about the kind of person that you were before coming in. You wanted your own identity, that was your why. And then you wanted to come here and do data. I mean, you did not know about it, but you were like, just go for, just go, you were a go getter. And when you got that job, you did not even think for a bit that you did not know it. You just went on, you had that learner's mind, as I say. So these are some amazing qualities that I think for people who are listening to us, that can help them in their life, in the journey ahead. If you're stuck somewhere, if you feel that you're not getting what you want, these are few things that you can think of, analyze in your journey, that what is working, what's not working, and that might be able to help you go a bit more closer to your goals as well. So now I would like to ask you another question. Now that you're doing very great in your own profession, but you're doing more than that, you're giving back to society, you're helping women, you're helping young people, you're mentoring them, giving back. So you are an effective leader in your career and field. You are the acting chair of WMESEA. I think that's for Asian women, South Asian women out here. That's an organization in Australia, and you're a mentor to many young women in the data field. What would be your three actionable tips to your young audience who are trying to make their mark in their respective field in various countries across the globe?
three things. Interesting. The first one, I would say, it's a very important one, is surround yourself with good people. So if you are in a good company, they will help you succeed in life, in whatever you do. You can look up to them, you can ask them advice. So it's very important that you surround yourself with good people. The second one, I would say, you need to work on personal development and also learn continuous throughout the life. So wherever we are in our life, whether you are at the entry level employee from a college or a CEO, we don't know it all. Admitting this is not a sign of weakness. The strongest leaders are those who are lifelong students. So I would say keep constantly learning, because every time you try to learn something, you're going to add more knowledge to your own self. So keep learning. Last, I would say, do something you love. So if you love something, then you're going to give your 100%. You're going to be passionate about it. You're not going to look at it as a burden. And things will just happen. You don't have to worry about it because you love it. Like, I love data. If you tell me middle of the night, this is a project, we need to get it done by tomorrow, I would be happy to sit there and work on it,
Wow.
rather than say, oh, this is boring, this is taking way too much of time, I'm not interested. So do find something that you love and you're passionate about. The rest will just happen.
Awesome. Those three tips were bang on. And I think my favorite would be find something that you love, because if someone wakes you up at the middle of the night and asks you to do something, then I'm sure all of us know what that would be. That was a very great example, I would say, because if we put ourselves in that situation, everyone who's listening to us, we know what that could be for us. So a very great start. And thank you so much, Bhavika, for being on my first step ever and taking us through your journey and letting us peep into your mindset and what has got you over here and to be the person that you are, and that you have made a mark in your industry in Australia. And all the very best for your journey ahead. Before you leave, I request all my guest speakers to leave our listeners with a thought or a saying that they resonate with.
So I have this very special thought or quote I resonate with. This is with Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promised to keep and miles to go before I sleep.
Amazing. I had read about this somewhere, and I think the first time when I read, I did not really understand it. But now that the time has passed, I have met so many people, I have understood their journey, I've gone through my own journey. I think I know how deep a meaning it is, and it's beautiful. Thank you, Bhavika, for being on my first step ever. And I would just like to say to my listeners that if you're interested to know more about her journey, I'm going to leave her link on my first step ever underscore IN Instagram account, so you can follow me over there. Boom! That was an amazing episode. If you've learned something out of it, something that inspired you, put down in comments below what you really liked and what would you like to listen to more. And before leaving this channel, if you feel like you would like to listen to more of these, like, share and subscribe. You know the drill, and also press the bell icon so that you can hear the notifications. See you until next time.